is important for us to realize that people who join cults more often than not find it profitable at first. But then eventually they might realize they are being bamboozled and brainwashed. At this point in time, some members may decide to leave, while others will stay despite the fact they want to leave. Still, there are others who may not even recognize they are being brainwashed and bamboozled, and they may even find the entire experience relaxing, eye-opening, and even positive. So let's say you are the sort of an individual who is not easily duped, easily gullible, easily deceived, easily manipulated. Then what are some of the warning signs you need to look out for? The first warning sign you need to look out for is the monopoly of truth. You see, I strongly believe it is only God who has the monopoly of truth. So if you find yourself in an organization where there is a general feeling that the leader exclusively knows the truth, and by truth I mean he has some extraordinary idea and capacity to provide solution to the biggest fears and problems of people, then that place is definitely a cult. The second sign you need to look out for is love bombing. If you find yourself in an organization where they are showering you with tremendous love, they are giving you an exorbitant sense of community, they are providing you with a place to live, they are giving you an excessive sense of purpose and hope, then that place is definitely a cult. The third sign you should look out for is thought reform. If you find yourself in an organization where the leader uses various forms of mind control to influence members to adopt shared values and beliefs, like you can only marry from this organization, you cannot wear this type of outfits, you cannot eat this kind of foods, we are the only believers who are holy, we are the only believers who are going to make it to heaven eventually, then that place is definitely a cult. The fourth sign you should look out for is authoritarianism. If you find yourself in an organization where the leader makes all the rules and has undue influence over all aspects of members' lives, and by all aspects I mean over their marriages, over their relationship, over their finances, over their businesses, over their careers, over their families, without any sort of accountability for the leader, then that place is definitely a cult. The fifth sign you should look out for is no questions asked. If you find yourself in an organization where there is a lack of tolerance for criticism of a leader and sensitive questions about the leader are not allowed because of a general belief that the leader is always right, then that place is definitely a cult. The sixth sign you should look out for is financial control. If you find yourself in an organization where the leader maintains absolute control over financial budgets and expenses without providing any statements to the members, then that place is definitely a cult. The seventh sign you should look out for is the fear factor. If you find yourself in an organization where the leader consistently instills irrational and unreasonable fears into the members about the outside world, about impending disasters, about eternal domination, about persecution, about conspiracies, then that place is definitely a cult. The eighth sign you should look out for is necessity to be perfect. If you find yourself in an organization where members believe that they lack the capacity to be good enough, to be smart enough, to be intelligent enough, to be attractive enough, and yet they are constantly seeking the validation of their leader, then that place is definitely a cult. The ninth sign you should look out for is walking out is forbidden. If you find yourself in an organization where there is a general belief that if you walk out, if you exit, if you leave, then you're wrong, you are evil, you're going to suffer, you are cursed, you're going to hell, then that place is definitely a cult. The 10th sign you should look out for is abuse is common. If you find yourself in an organization where members experience various forms of abuse, threats of physical harm, shunning, where if you do something out of the ordinary, the other members are told to deliberately and habitually avoid you, and where other forms of inhuman punishments are condoned, then that place is definitely a cult. The 11th sign you should look out for is gaining attention. If you find yourself in an organization where abuses have been documented in the media and even investigated by law enforcement, and instead of the leader taking full responsibility for the abuses, he coins a narrative that the members are being persecuted to the point the organization adopts an us versus them mentality, then that place is definitely a cult. The 12th sign you should look out for is blackmail. If you find yourself in an organization where members are forced, coerced to prove their loyalty by engaging in illegal and immoral acts, so that if at some point you decide to leave, the leader threatens to use that information as blackmail and even leak it for the whole world to see, then that place is definitely a cult.